It's follow-up time already, because Pirate Software has decided to continue actively being a silly little boy. He has made a couple of statements and, for once, not deleted them. Been reading through all the posts against me over my stance on the Stop Killing Games initiative. That sounds really exhausting. You should watch my video. I just talk about your conduct and rhetoric, and incidentally have to mention your stance. Tons of people calling me a liar or that I misrepresented the initiative. 'Cause you are. And you did. We'll get to his strategy of dodging this soon. Also, lots of content creators dogpiling on this to get their pound of flesh. Boo-hoo. Invoking the language of harassment. Dogpiling you. They're covering a guy who was trying to get attention for his take negatively. But it was 10 months ago. If one of your old videos popped off because people loved it, you wouldn't be crying. Let's dig into what I actually did and said. Don't worry, buddy. We will. I put out 2 videos on August 6th and August 7th, 2024. Now, that's true, but he also did a lot more than that. He has actually talked about it on stream a bunch of times. Here he is with the page up on the 19th of July. And we know he also streamed about it sometime after July 31st, because Accursed Farms has clips of Pirate Software reacting to a video that was released on July 31st.
This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to.
In my previous video, I said I couldn't find that VOD and suspected he'd deleted it, but now I can confirm that he absolutely did delete it, alongside the other streams he was talking about it around that time.
I went through the Reddit for their initiative for that, and there were a number of posts in there that were people saying we should keep baiting him and attacking him, because if we do that, he'll keep talking about it, and then more people will sign the initiative. They were planning that shit. And those threads are still there. They're still up. People are still talking about that shit on there. So instead of that, I just deleted all the VODs where we were talking about it. I kept my videos up and I walked away.
Who knows what was said to thousands and thousands of people on those live streams? What we know he did say, though, is counter to the image of himself he's trying to present right now. He wants to portray himself as the level-headed guy, beleaguered by rude trolls, when his now-hidden VODs showed he was talking like this.
Eat my entire ass. That the level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours.
Let's dig into what I actually did and said, he says from a throne of deleted VODs. He continues and says many people have not watched the videos he made. Yeah, and even fewer have had the chance to look through those VODs you deleted to see what you were telling thousands and thousands of people. Anyway, many people have not watched them and are just calling me a liar or attacking my character. Who? Throbbing Pepe69 on Twitter? Monetization on these videos is disabled, so no, this is not some ploy to increase revenue. That is an insane thing to have to defend yourself against, and he really doesn't have to. But if he does, it serves to characterize his detractors, right? This is the kind of person he's dealing with, he has to say that. I just care about this subject and have rightful concerns as a person working in this space. I wouldn't have anything to say, but he had to say rightful, i.e., justified concerns, didn't he? Bro, one of your takes was that you're scared that if SKG is successful, the government's gonna enslave game devs who've made live service games and force them to work on it forever.
I don't want the government telling indies that they have to have their live service game stay online forever. I don't want that. Nobody wants that. But when you're talking about a legal setting to force people to do this, you're generally moving in that direction.
This guy wants to talk about delusional perspectives, while seriously floating the idea that there's a chance the EU would legislate to make it so that if you're an indie dev and make a live service game, that's it. That's your life now. Get in the server maintenance cage. He then moves on to tell us what he actually said in his first video. As with his claim that he made 2 videos, all of this technically true, but that's not all that was in the video. He has chosen to omit the #1 misrepresentation he made. Accurate statements don't cancel out misrepresentations unless they are directly addressing that misrepresentation. If I made a video where I said, Pirate Software killed my dog, and he's a game developer, people get mad and I respond and I say, well, here's what I actually said. I just thought people should know that Pirate Software is a game developer. That's not countering the hate. That's lying by omission. If you want detail on the misrepresentation, check out my last video. There's something else I want to look at here. Pirate Software says, I also harshly critique Ross Scott's wording in his videos because they disparage the lawmaking process and lawmakers, which doesn't benefit players or this movement in any way. Multiple problems with this. Some of what Pirate Software said in his video could be construed as a critique of his wording, but in addition to that form of critique, Pirate Software also mischaracterized what was simply Ross describing why it could work, explaining a state of affairs that would exist regardless, as if it were Ross's tactic, his strategy to push it through.
If you're going to be setting precedent, if you're going to be putting forward something that you want to start a conversation to eventually become legislation, and these are the reasons for it, not only can I not agree with the initiative, but I can't agree with you. And I think that the tactics that you're using here are really disgusting.
He called Ross's description of how things are disgusting tactics. When it's not something he's doing, it's something he's describing that would be in play regardless of the gaming-related initiative being proposed. Correct or not, it's what he believes. If he decided not to say that when he thinks it's the case, for the purpose of providing a different appearance of his campaign, that would be disingenuous. So it's not a tactic, but as far as disgusting goes, why does he think it's disgusting? He doesn't make that perfectly clear in the video, but his recent Twitter post explains, as we already saw, that he says he critiqued the wording because it disparages the lawmaking process and lawmakers, because it doesn't benefit the movement, and he says just players. It's bad for all players. This is very, very strange to me, because before Ross put out that video where he explains why he thought the initiative could succeed, Pirate Software had discussed Stop Killing Games and had a few words of his own to say about the government.
The moment you have the government step in and try to regulate this shit, it's going to be awful. If you think the government can manage anything, you haven't been around long enough. Legitimately. That is a terrifying prospect. Letting the government get into video games is a terrible goddamn idea. Awful idea. You need to get through a couple more presidents before you realize that shit. That is an awful direction. Keep the government out of games. No thank you.
Wait, is this his real position? Or is it just another fake one he thought would be more effective in the moment? And this is the guy we're supposed to now believe is concerned about the disparagement of lawmakers. Seriously though, he was kinda based in this stream. Bit hypocritical because apparently he doesn't consider government force being used to protect intellectual property as the government being in games. Wonder why. But check this out.
If you want to petition a studio to then have that game released as a live service game with private servers on the outside, you go right ahead. You get the government involved, I am not on your side. I am not on your side even a little bit. Government can stay the hell out of games. Yeah, I told you before, I'm not a fan of the government. There's a reason for that shit. Keep them out of games. Stay out of games. No. They can't manage shit. They've never been able to manage shit. I don't want them in games. You don't want them in games.
If he's not lying about his feelings here, then literally everything else he's said is a deception. Every last thing he said in his videos, every last thing he's saying in tweets, totally disingenuous. He would be arguing against it no matter what, because his real problem is any government involvement whatsoever. The arguments he's presenting are just whatever he can scrabble for without having to let you know he's this cucked bitch libertarian too scared to state his real position. Unless it's a few hours deep in a stream and he thinks outsiders won't see it. Holy shit! This is more pathetic than I thought. Pirate Software said this.
To say that the government just doesn't care and this is an easy win and we're going to get it through is disingenuous. You're talking about a multi-billion-dollar global industry. To think that the government isn't going to be meticulously looking through this and looking for flaws and holes is absurd. So I don't think that's honest at all, and I find it disgusting.
Like 2 weeks after saying this.
Government can say the hell out of video games. They don't even know what the goddamn internet is. And we know that because when the Congress was talking about it, they called for nerds to explain it to them on the goddamn Congress floor. Do you really want that shit in video games?
This guy was practically calling the government retarded. Granted, he was talking about the US here, so maybe he thinks the EU and UK are run by gamers. But Jesus Christ, do you mean anything you say ever? Or is it literally always just what you think will work? Sorry if you feel a bit blue-balled because you were expecting a step-by-step through both of his tweets, but I'm disgusted now. I've lost my appetite for this kind of cringe. Let's finish by briefly scanning his second tweet. He starts with name drops. Just talked to Charlie and Just Drive Hayes for a bit in DMs. So this is going to be about that conversation, yeah? You ought to be careful saying, I talked to so-and-so, and then just stating a bunch of stuff, because it makes it sound like they're co-signing it, or that they advised you or something. And this is the summary of that, when that really doesn't seem to be the case.
But the point of me reaching out to him was to talk about his refusal to acknowledge that he did, maybe unintentionally, misrepresent Stop Killing Games, and it led to a just shy of 2 hours, circular argument that ultimately got us nowhere. He was more focused on his qualms with Stop Killing Games, and really liked to challenge me to prove him wrong about some of his hang-ups with it. And when I would mention, like, the behavior aspect, like, hey, you did misrepresent it, and I'd give him a timestamp, he'd then instead say how I'm wrong for thinking that he misrepresented it. We got nowhere.
This tweet doesn't seem like a very natural outcome of that. That he talked to them doesn't seem very relevant to him simply repeating himself again. Well, hold on. To be fair, it's not all simple repetition. He's got another new real reason he made those videos. He only made it because you're retarded, and it was his duty to improve public knowledge because you thinking game dev is easy makes game dev hard. Which is funny, because this guy doesn't even understand apologies. If you're mad at me for being a dick to Ross, I get it, and I'm sorry for that. What? You're sorry to the general public for being a dick to Ross, or you're sorry you made people mad? You don't have to apologize at all, but what the hell is that? This guy's a total social media fried freak. I've had enough. Like I said, see you again about this if he does something funny.